So we have some few questions to get along the way, and the questions are just, again, who is Lyonell Henson, and how does Lyonell Henson relate to Omega? What made Lyonell Henson the man he is today? And we'll continue on to just kind of round out the thought.
Okay, so let me just clarify. Lyonell is a little bit too square for me. It's Lyonell. Lyonell. You call me Lyonell, that'll be a little bit better.
There we go.
Women get away with that one.
Appreciate
me Lyonell.
So share with us again your full name and date of birth.
Okay, my name is Lyonell Paul Henson. My birthday is April 12th, 1960. And I was born into the world with a twin brother, Arnell Saul Henson. We were identical. And he passed away August 5th, 1991.
Your initiation date, your line number, and the chapter.
I was initiated through Chi Beta chapter, Long Beach State, May 3rd, 1980.
And how many were online with you?
There was 5, and I was the tail dog.
Okay.
We were the sons of the immortal dynasty, and I was dog 5, tail dog.
Who was your dean?
My dean was Jetty V.O. Brother Jetty V.O. He's an attorney in Washington, D.C. now.
Okay.
He was my dean.
You stay in connection with him? You still contact?
Stay
okay.
in touch.
Okay.
Stay in touch.
There you go. That's a blessing. Team, where were you born and raised?
I was born in Oakland, California.
Okay.
In turbulent times in Oakland, I grew up in the Black Panther movement. I was a teenager growing up there and seeing black men get shot in the back, but shot down by police. And my mother didn't want me to participate, but I was, as a teen, sneaking around to support the black movement, man. So the black movement has always been a part of my heart, man. Black liberation of African people at home and abroad. You know, we still facing racism every day, brother. So that's been my catalyst. That's how that whole thing moves full circle. But I'll let the questions go forth.
It's to your point, those atrocities that were placed upon us during the Black Panther time and in the 60s, here we are in 2023, and that same spirit we're still facing today. We're still fighting today. In Memphis, the officers were black.
Yeah, I know.
So there's something about that institution of policing that looks upon black men and black people as less than human, because there's nowhere in the world anyone could sell me that if that individual was named Becky or Todd
or Ron Rinker,
that they would have treated. Right. I know that I'm right in the sense that if it were someone's dog, Spot,
you treated better.
They would have treated the dog better than they treated that young man.
Absolutely.
And that we're still fighting, like you said, from back when the 60s and the movement that we started, civil rights and everything, we're still fighting for our rights today.
And you know, we have to keep fighting. And you know, I thank God that I had a family of parents that fought, you know, that were fighters. But my mother's fear for me, she didn't want me in it because she didn't want to see me die. But one of the things I paraphrased from Dr. King said that if a person has something that he's not willing to die for, then he's really not fit to live. So we still fighting, and I don't give up the fight, brother. And you know, I hope that my life is just that walking testimony that not to give up the fight, keep fighting.
There we go. So, share with us the list of immediate family members that you have.
Okay, that are alive.
Your family members.
Okay.
That are.
My oldest brother, his name was Richard Jefferson. He had different fathers, but he was 16 years older than me. He passed away in 2006. And then I had one sister, Lavinia Henson. She was 2 years older than me, and she passed away in 2008. And then it was me, Lyonell, and then my twin brother, Arnell. He passed away in 1991. And then I have one surviving younger brother, Philip Henson. He lives in Jacksonville, Florida. He's 3 years younger than me. And me and him are the last two surviving siblings. My parents both preceded us in death. My father died in 1997. My mother passed away 4 months after my twin brother in 1991. Yeah.
And do you have any kids?
I have two children. Ejao Henson, he's 29. He'll be 29 next month. And I have a daughter, Tania Henson. She's 27. And she just gave me my first grandson. He made 2 years old, January 9th. So I'm thankful to have a grandson.
What a blessing. What a blessing. Your education, what did you major in and what is your profession?
I majored at Cal State University, Long Beach, majored in criminal justice, corrections for my option, minor in black studies. And I'm a retired parole agent with the State of California Department of Corrections. And I got a bachelor's degree, and I also went to law school for 2 years, University of West Los Angeles. I did not finish that, circumstances of life. And I worked, like I said, I'm a retired parole agent of the State of California Department of Corrections. I came up in that field. I worked as a youth correctional counselor and then promoted out to the streets. All around inner city Los Angeles had parolees, working with young people on the parole system. I currently also part-time employee with the Los Angeles Unified School District. I'm a traveling program supervisor in a department called Student Support Services, where I work with young people that have different difficulties in behavior, and I work with them and their parents to keep them in the various programs.
Okay.
And then I just got hired a substitute teacher with Long Beach Unified School District.
All right, that's a blessing.
Yeah.
What inspired you to become a man of Omega?
Well, I think first of all was the fact that on my campus at Cal State Long Beach in that time, I saw the Omegas being active in the black student movement. And there was one of the few organizations that was supportive of the black student movement. When I came into Long Beach State, I looked for black students. Coming out of Oakland, it was like, well, hey, where the black students at on this white institution, predominantly white campus? And I was led to the Black Student Union, and when I got in the Black Student Union, it was Omegas who were involved actively in the Black Student Union. Matter of fact, one of the charter members of Phi Beta Beta, Douglas Roddy, he was an active member back then, and that was an inspiration for me, just to see the bros just being involved in the blackness. And so we black first before we anything else. So that was a real motivation. I can remember it was a frat brother who was on a yard, walking on a yard. He had a shirt on, and it said it had a genie coming out of a bottle, and then it said it takes more than a wish to become a Q. And I walked up to him and I said, it takes more than a wish, huh? He said, yeah. And that began my plight to Omega, and because of what I was seeing, the activity and just the unity amongst the black man, the brothers.
Good to know.
Pause real quick. Just so you guys know, like, just imagine this straight line right here. So now you're in this camp. There you go. Just letting you know right now. So just being in the camera view.
I'm good.
Yeah. No, you guys are good right now. It was just Alvin, he didn't know. So that's why I was just trying to make sure you know. It's like, imagine I'm looking dead where the wall is right there.
I got you. Just coach on.
Yeah, there you go. All right. And the same thing if Braxton wanted to come back in, just make sure you
say
yeah, just make sure you know.
So you're right.
I do apologize.
No worries.
No,
Come on. We it's a interview. We production. You got the director.
Doing a great job too, bro.
I appreciate it. Yeah, I just want to make sure the audio is everything. So, and we, If our ears can hear it, the microphone can too.
Gotcha. As we continue along, what are some of your most treasured memories in Omega?
Wow. I think the first treasure memory was when I pulled that blindfold off and realized that I'm now a Q. That was really, that was one of them tear-jerking moments for me. After going through all that I had went through, you know, it's like, what could be worth all of this? You know, blood, sweat, and tears, literally. And that really meant a lot to me because I thought about, look at what our ancestors went through. Blood, sweat, and tears just to survive. And coming through the folds of Omega just kind of, it showed me, man, that you can persevere through anything, man. You know, you set your mind to it, you get through it, no matter what it is. And that was my saying. I carried that all my life, even to the day that I just took a bullet and I was left for dead on the ground. And I looked around and I wasn't dead. My life wasn't flashing by me. And it was like, hey, you ain't going nowhere. God ain't through with you yet. I got up off that ground, man. Got in my car and drove myself to the hospital. So Omega is strength. Omega is self-determination. Omega is perseverance. And then Omega is uplift. Omega is scholarship, knowledge of self, where you come from and where you're going. And most of all, Omega's manhood. There's so many out there who don't know they want to be men now. And it's time that the men stand up. We can't have no bent over back. You know, we got to stand up and be men and be the true example that we need to be for our people.
And to your point, when we learn manhood, scholarship, perseverance, and uplift, it sticks with us through life.
Through life.
So when we face adversity, we know how to persevere.
Absolutely.
If you're made right, you live long enough, you're going to face some adversity.
Face adversity.
And you're going to recall that out of the night that covers me, black as a pit from pole to pole.
Thank
That,
you, God's baby, from my unconquerable soul. In the fell clutch of circumstance, I Winston cried aloud. Under bludgeoning a chance, my head is bloody, but unbowed. Place of wrath and tears looms, but the horror of the shade. Yet the minutes of the years shall find me unafraid. It matters not, I'll straight the gate, I'll chart the punishment to scroll. I am the master of my fate, the captain of my soul. It's still right here. 40 years, 42 years later, it ain't went nowhere. Okay? Ain't went nowhere.
and that is the beauty of Omega. That those lessons learned, those poems, the history, it affords the opportunity to persevere and to overcome. And then it has driven us to continue to uplift.
Yes.
You know, substitute teaching and continued, even after you retired.
Can't give up on these kids, man, our youth, man. We can't give up on them, brother.
It is truly a blessing.
Man, they need us, bro.
Yes.
No matter how old we are, you know, they still need us. And, you know, it's up to us to just stand up and be strong, man. You know, can't nothing knock us down, brother. If we do, we fall down, we're going to get back up.
There you go. There you go.
You know, we fall down, we're going to get back up.
Next question, team. What leadership positions have you held inside Omega?
I was I was once the second vice district representative of the 12th district back in probably 1984. Second vice DR, and of course I've been a KRS Chi Beta chapter for many years, keeper of records of SEALs, and then I was the boss of Phi Beta Beta for a couple of terms also. So those have been obviously, and I've been undergraduate intermediate representative at large, also with the 12th district. So those have been some of the positions that I've held. I'm a life member. So, you know, when you dedicate your life, you know, to something, man, you know, who's gonna go through this and then not dedicate their life for it. This ain't no game. You know, this is real life, and we're charged to be the true leaders that we're supposed to be in this community, in our lives, in this journey to Omega Land.
Next question. What service activities have you been involved in that have had the most impact?
Like I was telling the young brother, was driving here, Brother Alvin, I've always been a pro-black brother. And one of the things that really impacted me so much was when we began to have a Kwanzaa celebration at a Phi Beta Beta. We were one of the first, probably the first ones in the whole nation to do a Kwanzaa celebration. And Kwanzaa is the first African-American non-heroic cultural celebration. Don't have nothing to do with religion. People were saying it's religious, or it's turned against religion. It ain't got nothing to do with religion. It was a cultural celebration. Mm-hmm. And we at the Positive Black Brothers, we did our first Kwanzaa celebration in Inglewood City Hall. And we brought in the community and had drummers and celebration, man, and it was awesome. That was one of my first community, it was an impactful event, and I really hope that in time that Phi Beta Beta, Positive Black Brothers, can come back to the folds of that. Just the culture of our people, it just means a lot to me. You know.
You said that phrase, Positive Black Brothers. When was that first coined or championed under Phi Beta Beta?
Actually, it was something I coined, you know. I saw PBB, and I said, we're the Positive Black Brothers. So let's be the Positive Black Brothers, PBB, Positive Black Brothers. That was a phrase that I kind of put out there, and the brothers embraced it.
But what year was that?
1996.
Okay.
1996, shortly after we won the International Chapter of the Year. It was the first graduate chapter west of the Mississippi to win International Graduate Chapter of the Year. Our brother Michael Haynes was bosses then, and I became bosses right after him.
What a blessing. And that Positive Black Brothers sticks with us.
Still here today. I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah.
I'm glad to see that. And I'm glad to be back in the folds. I mean, you know, I got my life membership and I still get my information. However, you know, just through the journey of Omega Land, you know, we go back and forth through challenges in life, and, you know, I just still, the pulse of our people, you know, it's just still be that.
What are some of the things and opportunities about Omega that you believe we should protect?
I think we should protect our involvement with our young people, with our young black men.
Okay.
There's so many directions that they've been pulled that we really need to keep our hands on the pulse of our youth. It's just funny because I've worked with foster youth, ex-cons, middle school, high school, elementary, right on down. And we have to reach them. The earlier we reach them, the better off they're going to be. And so I don't know really what the answer to that, but we just want to keep our pulse on our youth, especially our young black boys as they become young black men, because they need our guidance. And we cannot be afraid of our young black men. You know, we can't be afraid. Some of us are afraid to walk down the streets, but you know, hey, your time gonna be your time, you know. Only God knows. So just make sure you have your loins girded and be ready always, and just keep on fighting. So I think one of the most important things is working with our young black boys, putting young black boys to men, training them up on what a man should be and how they should carry themselves.
From your perspective, what has kept you active and involved with Omega?
Well, I think Omegas aren't made, they're born, quiet as it's kept, okay? So you have to already have that tenacity in you to step out of your comfort zone. You know, so many of us want to be comfortable and just do only what's comfortable. But we gotta be willing to go further. And in the times, the dire straits that we're in, there's a need for us to go further. I mean, you look at our black leaders they went further. You look at our ancestors, they went further. You look at those who said, either I'm gonna just sit here and be a house nigga and just sit here and work at master's feet, or I'm gonna be out there in the fields and I'm gonna be organizing my people so that we could be free. See, freedom ain't free, it's gonna require sacrifice. And that's why it takes more than a wish to become a Q. Because you gotta be willing to sacrifice. It's nothing easy in life, man. It wasn't easy getting no college degree, and it wasn't easy finishing high school. It ain't easy being married. It ain't easy being a father. It ain't easy being alive nowadays. You got to have a will to want to live out in the days that we're in. So many people died in the pandemic because they just gave up the will to live. You got to have a will and want to hold on when nothing's left in you but the will that says, hold on. Okay? So that's what it means to me, man. I hope I answered the question.
Oh, yes. I mean, it's your answer. There's nothing wrong when it comes out of the mouth of Lyonell Henson. The answer is always right when it comes from your mouth, team, and I appreciate it. Share one of your dearest fraternal friendship, and why is it so special?
Well, one of my dearest fraternal friendships was Brother Michael Haynes, Brother Fritz. I can remember Brother Fritz, we're both from the Bay Area. He's from Berkeley, I'm from Oakland. And when he heard that there was somebody from the Northern California pledging, he made sure that he found me and got with me. And I can remember pledging me, and we had something called Silent Sound. Whatever that is, you know. But we had to know the streets. He came in there, tell me the names of the streets in Oakland. Give me some names. I started running out the streets. Oh, 52nd, 53rd, 52nd, I'm just naming the streets. And Silent Sam was still talking to me. You know? And you know, that's me and him had to build a bond of really closeness. I think one of the closest friendships that I have is with Brother Fritz, Michael Haynes, just to name a few. John Hobbs, another close bond. His mother and my mother became good friends.
Okay.
He crossed in March of 80 and I crossed in May of 80. And my line brother, my Sans Talmadge, grew up with John Hobbs in San Bernardino. And that's how I met John Hobbs. And then we had the conclave in Oakland that December of 1980. And John Hobbs got to meet my family and my parents, my mom. And then my mom came down to the Bay, came up down here to Long Beach and met his mom, and they became the best of friends. So my mother would come out here and visit his mother, and I just also built our bond for me and him. You know, you just never know how the turns of life, man. You know, just take you through different roads, man, but it all winds up at the same place, you know. And it couldn't be a better place for me to be in the breast of Omega Psi-Phi and the contacts and the network that, you know, like I told a young brother, the first thing you can do, the best thing you can do with Omega is get out and travel. Don't sit on your ass or on your laurels and not get out there. Don't be afraid. Because, you know, Omegas, we can be just like a dog. You know, dogs that sniff fear. When you're scared, they can sniff it out. We can sniff out when you're scared. So, I mean, we not never scared. You know, we standing strong, pressing on all the time. And that's all you got to do is hold your head up and represent that true strength of Omega, tenacity.
Truly true. What is most important in your life today?
Man, I think it gets back to my grandson. That you know, so many people never had that opportunity to have a grandchild, and then have a man-child. So I think one of the most important things to me is leaving a legacy for him to follow. Leaving a legacy behind, I think, is the most important thing in our generation. Not only just a legacy of just the family in general, but of pride, of strength, of confidence, are those qualities that are needed to not only survive, but to thrive in life. I think that's what's most important. Leaving a legacy that holds their head up, sticks their chest out. Don't buck down. Don't scratch when they don't itch. You know, don't give in. You know, when someone tries to punk you, but still stand humble but manly. You can be humble, but you can also still be a man. You ain't got to compromise your manhood. Okay, and I remember that. Being a humble but manly lap, singing interest into Omega Land.
What a blessing. One final question. What advice would you give to a young brother 20 years from now if he were to seek Omega?
Don't forget where you came from. Never forget where you came from, because you can always pull something from your past that'll give you strength in your presence to go into the future. Sometimes when you feel like you're all alone, that's why, let me just say, why this so-called country is attempting to take away our history, take black history out of the schools, because they want us to forget the great past that we came from. We have a responsibility to never forget where we came from. Never forget the blood, the sweat, and the tears that our ancestors fought and died. That Fatty Lou Hamer died just so we could have the right to vote. I tell my son all the time, and then all the other young brothers, blood is on the hands of those who don't vote. Your ancestors' blood is on your hands. So you feel like you can't vote? It starts on a local level. You know, people talk about the president. It starts locally. Look in your community. Look in your community, make an impact there. That's where it starts at. So never forget where you came from, because you'll always will remember which way to go. As long as you never forget where you came from. That's what I would say. OG's elder said, in so many words, they would say, always throw the rope back. You ever heard that? Throw the rope back. So that never think that you done got so far in life and doing so well that you can't forget where you came from. That you can step over somebody on the ground, or not lend a helping hand to help old lady across the street. Or I remember, man, riding the train, I'm breaking up fights on the train. Young people just break out in a fight. And everybody on the train just sit there and watch it. Not me. I'm going to get in there and separate. Because these are our black children. These are our children there fighting. And then the white folks looking at them like, look at those animals. Nah, I'm getting out there and I'm shaking it up. So I always shake the bush. Always keep fighting. Always keep building. Never give up faith.
Well, Brother Henson, that concludes the questions that we have. Is there anything that you want to add to the conversation?
Well, I think I just want to say that it's been an honor to be a part of working with great minds and you young brothers. And I'm really happy to see that you're still going forward and carrying that torch. And it means a lot to me, because when I took these brands, took this heat, there was no horseshoe on my chest, okay? When you take the heat, you got to bring the heat, okay? So don't walk around thinking that you got all the heat and you're not bringing any, because it'll tell on you. You'll turn your milk back into water, okay? So stay strong and much love. Thank you, Joe.
Thank you, my brother. Dr. Henson, we appreciate you, Black.